Well, good morning. As we've done a few other times, we wanted to share with you some of our experiences and have a little chat with you about Anthony's Antiques and some of the things we've done over the years and some of the things that have happened in here. A number of years ago, a lady who was visiting the doctor in Salt Lake, as often happens, came into Anthony's and had a little extra time. She said, walked around and we visited for a few minutes, very personable, and she points to this statue and she says, oh, and what is that made of? I said, oh, that's alabaster. She said, oh, that must be what Aunt Catherine Lee Bates meant when she said, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. Of course, that's a line from America the Beautiful. And she said, you know, I have the original manuscript of that. And I said, well, you know, we, a bit jokingly, we're kind of known as the Smithsonian of the West, and we'd be happy to buy that from you. Of course, she didn't bite on that one, but I made my effort anyway. You know, I think of Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks in that movie Got Mail, and they had a little discussion there. And he said to her, she said, you know, this really isn't personal. And she said to him, she said, well, if anything, something to this effect, if anything, it ought to be personal. That my business is personal, and it's part of my life, which is personal. And I've thought about that. And I've thought that we're all a product of things that are meaningful to us one way or another. And as I thought about this line, or this stanza, in America the Beautiful, which I had to memorize when I was in 5th grade. Thank you, Mr. Christensen. That was his name. And we memorized the Star Spangled Banner, My Country 'Tis of Thee, and America the Beautiful. We had to know all of the stanzas and lines from those three as part of our 5th grade music training. O beautiful for patriot dream, the 4th verse, that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. In 1893, Catherine Lee Bates, who was a teacher at Wellesley College, took a group of her students on the train across the United States to a course in Colorado. And as she passed Chicago and passed through there, it was the World Columbia Exposition was occurring at that time. And she wrote those words, and thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. In an ironic sense, that would have been the approximate year that my Jewish grandfather, who was fleeing the persecution of the Jews in Russia, came to the United States and moved to Chicago. When he met my grandmother on the train, on the Bamberger train, she was 19 years old. She was from a Mormon pioneer family, Alice Maybe. His name was Philip Lewis Fischler, and he was the president of the Cigar Makers Union in Ogden. And he spoke with an Irish brogue that he learned in Chicago as a young man. And they got to visiting, and they developed a relationship. And he married her. She was rather independent-minded, if you can imagine. A pioneer Mormon family, a girl marrying a Jewish man at that time. It wasn't something that was very popular with her mother and with the rest of the family, but that's what happened. And to be personal once again, I think about my grandfather and his history. For 4,000 years, the Jews had become a hiss and a byword, and had spent a good portion of that time in slavery, 400 years to the Egyptians. Of course, Titus, who sent slaves when he plowed under the temple in Jerusalem and destroyed Jerusalem, and sent slaves to Rome to build the Colosseum, was said that the Jewish slaves, didn't sweat as much, and they made great workers. Think about the Babylonian captivity. You can think about the years of persecution during the Spanish Inquisition. Truly, for 4,000 years, these people did not have a home. And for him to come here and marry this Mormon pioneer into this Mormon pioneer family, and I'll tell you a little bit about that family. His wife's great-grandmother, his wife's grandmother, when she was 3 years old, marched for 900 miles in the Zion's Camp March. When she was 9 years old, her mother died. When she was 13 years old, she got married, and when she was 14, buried her first child in Far West. And then they moved on to Salt Lake, and the Brigham Young Company fought the Crickets. She bore the first white child in Tooele. And when she was 35 years old, she was buried with her 15th child in her arms. Brigham Young spoke at her funeral. You know, there's been a great price paid by those who came before us to live here. I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful to the extent that I understand the persecutions, the slavery, what people do for their religion and for their family. And I hope that in the world that we have some control over, that we will be grateful for that which has been given us, that the vision it's the 400th year this year to celebrate the Mayflower. The vision of those who established this country for our benefit, that we will take that forward, that we will be peaceful with our fellow men, that we will be responsible for our own actions, that we will not discriminate based on who someone is, who we think they are, that we will be kind and generous and forthright to all men. And I'm grateful for that which has been extended unto me and for the sacrifices that those who have come before me have made. Thank you.